What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Producer Mindset. We got Josh joining us today and our special guest, Nuria RIvera. We might be long distant cousins. I'm Rivera, you're Rivera. But Nuria came to this country when she was 11 years old, learning a brand new language, a whole new culture. She's an entrepreneur who launched a title and escrow company in 2015 by the name of Novation Title. Novation Title has since received the award for Best of State 5 times, right? One of the things that Nuria is, at least in the short time that we've known you, or at least what we've seen from you online, and of course the times that we've interacted, is you're a passionate woman, definitely all things about community, and you have a giver's heart, what we would consider. You run your own nonprofit, is that right? The Dreamers Foundation?
Yeah,
that's really cool. And this holds a big fundraising event every single year. That's given. Does it give to an already established charitable organization?
Yes.
That's really cool. So how did we meet? We met Nuria over at NARP, the National Associations of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals, where she is currently selected as the 2022 National President-elect. What does that mean?
Yeah, well, it just means that I get to have the honor to be in this role and lead at that level. And so this year I'm right behind Luis Padilla, who's our current president, and I'm prepping, to take over that role. So it means a lot of fun work.
There you go. One of the things that we love about you is that, and I think you are the perfect fit since day one for this particular podcast. You came to our booth when we met about a year ago and you were like, who, not how. I love this chart. And you had read the book, Who, Not How. But there's obviously a part of you that's constantly seeking growth. We know that you're a part of the Tony Robbins Platinum Partners Development and Growth Program. You have a passion for yoga, family, and so much more. So we want to welcome you to today's podcast, The Producer Mindset. So, let's just dive right into it. What are some of the exciting things that you're working on with your realtor partners right now? We know you're always up to something. So what's happening?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me as a guest on the show. You guys are phenomenal to watch as well. I know that you're doing some really fun things, and I like how you're creative and finding different ways to market. And I love that. Actually, marketing and branding is one of my favorite parts of business. And so anytime anyone's doing something pretty cool and different, I attract that. So congrats to you as well.
Appreciate that.
Some things I'm working on right now, sometimes I don't even know, I can't catch up with myself. But we just finished an extension in our office, which is, and the part that I'm most excited about has been this training room that I'm actually in right now. And so we wanted it to be, because I'm obsessed with adding value to my clients consistently. We really have taken it to the next level of training. And so we as a title company are providing high-level training for our clients. And it's not taught to anyone by just someone that knows information. It's being taught to them by our development coach who has 15 plus years in the real estate industry. And so she's walked the walk, she's taught and helped so many different teams get to the next level. And so that's the quality and the standard of what I want in my company of, what we're giving back to the community. And so our Nova Academy is what that is. And we just have all kinds of courses that are for real estate agents and to help them get to the next level. We also have our Diamond Partnership, which is probably my most exciting project, or my favorite one. And that's something we put together once a quarter, where it's an invite-only event where our clients and top agents and lenders get to attend. And they have to qualify to get a private invite to the event. And then they're being exposed to being able to have access to another mega producer in a different market. And they also get to mastermind with each other. So those are some of the things, plus some other things, but those are probably our top two that I've put a lot of effort, energy, and we're really excited about.
So One of the things that attracts me about what you're doing with your diamond partnership, of course, the whole sense of like you got to qualify to join, it's always beautiful, right? In marketing, at least. But I think what attracts me about that program is, apart from you not inviting just anyone, it's more than just thinking of, okay, how can I get more business? How can I get more leads? Why is it important for you to genuinely like go out there and teach, or at least show these agents, these realtors, these loan officers, like a new way of thinking, an elevated way of thinking?
Yeah, it's important to me because I am so obsessed and passionate about growth. And I always feel like people are out there pitching like, how do I get how do I get to help you grow your business? And I hear that often. And I feel like a lot of people just ask the question, but I don't want to just go out there and ask the question. I wanted to come up with a solution to bring to the table. So because I'm so growth minded and I'm consistently finding ways to grow and to learn, and I'm a big student of life, I just knew that where I could come in based on all the regulations that I have, because if I didn't have those, I'd be doing some even greater things. But we in title insurance are highly regulated. But I just felt like I value growth very much. And I know our top clients value growth, and they value learning something from someone who's done something bigger. And I'm all about community as well. That's a big focus of mine. I love bringing people together. I love connecting people to each other. And so it was just a brainstorm within my head of how can I bring real value, and how can I put people together that are like-minded, and an event that isn't for everyone, because we get those all the time, like everyone can come, anyone can come, and we still hold those, but I wanted to create something special for my top producers.
That's really cool.
It's amazing. So you were talking a little bit about growth, right? We talked about who, not how a little bit. And I kind of want to like marry those two together. I feel like a lot of real estate professionals, they want to grow their business, but they treat themselves as if they're contractors and not necessarily business owners. And, asking who, not how within your business is one of the best ways to exponentially grow your business, to get more time back. So starting your company, being an entrepreneur, what were some of the first hires that you actually made? Like, how did you alleviate your time when you were first starting your business?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I was the producer. I was the technician in my industry for 9 years prior to me launching my title company. So it was such a difference in rules. And I knew that. So for about a 4-year period, I studied what it would take to run a business, because although I was a really good escrow officer, it was going to be a completely different game. And I knew that. But I read some really great books in that research that I did for 4 years to prep myself. One of the books that really changed everything for me was the E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. I also read The Ultimate Sales Machine. So I had this concept and idea of like really setting up a business from day one, to have the systems and the processes in place as we scaled and grew. And at the same time, I had to make a big decision whether I was going to continue working in my business or on my business. And so after I read those couple books and had a few conversations with people who had owned businesses, that was the biggest key to me, was to make sure I was no longer the technician or the operator. So since day one, and I had to have some really difficult conversations with my clients, right? Like, I'm no longer going to be doing your closing, but there's a way to do it. And it all worked out. Obviously, I didn't lose any clients from that. But so the most important positions I hired for my very first hire was Shannon, and she's my COO currently. And I knew that I needed to hire somebody who had different strengths than I did. So if you guys know the disc test, I'm a high driver. I'm like 98% D, and then like 75% I. My C is kind of higher too, so I do have like the organization, but it's not my highest. And I needed somebody who loved that piece of it, like had background in HR, loved spreadsheets, was even more organized, and loved the numbers and the data and all of those things. And so that's where I went in my search, was to find that person that was totally different than me, that could help come in and close that gap so we could make a killer team. So that was my first hire, and she was amazing. She had background in office management, HR, she knew QuickBooks, like everything I didn't know, just supplemented everything so well. So she was my first hire. And then I already had a team, and that team already was doing some of my closings, but they got to level up. So they became full-time escrow officers now, meaning no longer junior escrow officers. I started handing some of my business to them. And so, yeah, those were probably my most important key roles that I hired for to start and to launch the company.
How have you been able to instill that growth mindset onto your team, so that obviously, I think one of the things that Novation title and the way it sets itself apart, funny, we were on a sales call a couple of weeks back with a broker from Salt Lake, and he knew you. He knew who you were. And I was like, okay, that's really interesting. And he was like, oh yeah, she was doing it for a while before under somebody else, and then she went out and she just seems to have taken over, blah, blah, blah. So how did you ingrain that vision onto, like, let's say, the rest of your team, and how does that translate to how, your realtor partners even feel or think about Novation?
Yeah, so that's something that I always encourage anyone in business to really connect to, and that's the fulfillment side of why you're doing what you're doing. Because as a business owner and running a company or even running a team, there are some really hard days. And there are some days where you're like, wow, I'm not even sure how I'm gonna even start solving this problem, or multiple problems at the same time. And so when you have those really tough days, you must have a deeper meaning of why you're doing the things that you do every day. And if you don't have that, it's not sustainable and it's not gonna work, or if it's gonna work, you're gonna be super miserable in the journey. And so it's very important that you really connect and understand the purpose and the meaning behind why you're doing what you do. Luckily in our industry, it's a little easier to connect to that because you're helping people achieve the American dream. You're helping, you're a part of this whole process, which is beautiful and fulfilling on its own, but you have to have deeper purpose. So for me, the passion is just there as far as me wanting to come in, and I really wanted to make a change in my industry. I had been in it for 9 years. I'd seen all these other title companies. They all looked the same. You walked in and it was like you were going into like an accountant's office. The energy when you walked in was very boring. People were coming in and I only had control over my personal closings. And I just thought, this is a very boring industry. And it's a very old system and it's a very old program. I want to come in and help make a change. I want to bring life to it. I want to help disrupt this thing. And so that was my big reason of why I wanted to launch it. And so everyone I've been able to attract to the company has totally connected to that mission of really redefining that closing experience and not seeing people like another number, like understanding that each one of them has a story, that each one of them is a person, and every single person that works here truly cares about that family or that person that's buying, selling, or refinancing their home. So they're not seeing them like another file. And so just very careful on who in our hiring process that they value the same things we do. And also always, I've been consistent, very consistent in my trainings, my meetings, From day one, we've always met on Wednesday mornings. The whole team, you have to attend the meeting. It's mandatory, and I'm able to continuously share the vision, continue to coach them, continue to help them become better people. And they truly know that the love for them is there, and that they know in their hearts that I truly want the best for them. And I'm here to help push them to the next level. Some days I am hard. Like I told them that a couple weeks ago. I know I'm not easy. I have high standards, but I know what you're made of, and I know what you're capable of. And we're not going to be running this company in a mediocre way. Like I'll be damned if I do. Like I launched this company to bring something special, to make something better. And so, yeah, we have high standards, but I also provide this great platform and space for you guys to really shine in and become a better person, not only in the career and your business, but also in your daily lives. And so they feel that genuine love, and sometimes I kick them in the ass, but it's all for, they know I'm doing it because I know what they're capable of. I know their strength. And so, but that to me is real leadership. Leadership isn't easy. People are like, and it's like, I'm going to call out the truth, even if I'm having to have a hard conversation with you. You can't look at me in the eyes and tell me that you've given it your all. Like, tell me that right now. And, it's like, you have so much more in you. Like, it's time to step up. Let's do this. So that's our type of environment. Like, our culture is amazing, and we really do. I give so much to my people. That's something I'm very proud of. I invest in them so much, and it's high accountability, and it's high standards.
I love that. Josh, I think that segues into the question you had earlier.
Yeah. We talked a little bit about, investing into yourself, and, who, not how, and everything, treating yourself like a business, and how business owners invest in themselves. And I just kind of want to pick your brain a little bit about how you've enjoyed, or if you've enjoyed, or what you've gotten out of the Tony Robbins program, and if you bring those ideas and that same energy that I see that goes on at these events back to your people.
Yeah, that's a great question. He's been one of my biggest teachers for over a decade. And so I have learned so much from him. And so, yes, some of the things he teaches definitely bleed into my company, because that's been my biggest teacher. But I also truly believe that you just need to be yourself. And so I'm not trying to be like anybody else. I just am. I'm a byproduct of everything that I've experienced, everything that I've learned from all these incredible teachers. And I've just created my own thing. And so, although I quote Tony a lot and I reference back to his teachings and other leaders, we have our own thing, And so I would say that I bring more of the serenity, like mental health, mindfulness into our culture. But it is high vibe as well. That's why you see people coming in closings, and the music is turned up to the max. They're celebrating, they're popping the confetti cannons, all of that. So it is high energy, but also it's meditative in a way. So I'm just being myself. I'm not trying to be like somebody else. I'm just really a result of everything that I've immersed myself in and invested in myself for many years. And this is just me. And that would be my biggest advice to everyone. Like, don't try to be like anyone else. You just be yourself. You have a gift within you. You have something very special about you that nobody else has. And that's all the world needs. You just need to be you.
I love that. It. So with saying that, like, you just need to be you, got to be yourself. You're unique. You have a special gift that you bring to the world. In our world of brand development, marketing, and helping agents, loan officers, even title companies get themselves out there and get more brand exposure, more brand awareness, visibility, so that obviously they can attract more people like themselves to do business with them. One of the biggest barriers that we face is I don't know how I feel about putting myself out there on video. What if people judge me? What if people see me? What are your thoughts on that? And how would you, if you were in that position? Because I mean, you're doing video, you're doing like the whole 9 yards, right? Like, how would you advise someone to overcome that and to legitimately give themselves into, you know, building a personal brand, building a brand themselves, and putting themselves out there?
Yeah, this is huge because you are your own brand. Like, you sell yourself every day, whether you think you are or not. Like, you're waking up, you're dressing yourself, you look a certain way, you speak a certain way, you show up a certain way. So every day you're selling yourself. And that's one of the biggest fears, you know, it's public speaking is one of the biggest fears in the world, like worse than death. And video is very close to that, right? Because you're like, I'm putting myself out there. I'm just here for being vulnerable for anybody to be able to judge me, shame me, you know, talk about how my hair looked a certain way, how my eyebrow went that way. We start going in our heads about just some really unimportant things. So my suggestion and my advice in regards to getting yourself out there and getting uncomfortable in doing videos is that, one, you are always your own brand. And the more you're willing to put yourself out there with your clear message, you're going to be able to attract more people. I mean, how many times, and I'm sure you guys hear this, and because you do this for a living, that an agent gets leads just from their social media because they're doing all these reels, right? That's their source of lead gen. And so if you're not willing to do it, you're really doing yourself a disservice because you're not branding yourself, especially at this time and age. You have to. It's like you must. If you can't, you must. And if you must, you can. And so it's just little uncomfortable steps that you need to take. But here's what I do and what I always teach people is, this isn't about you. Like, you're so in your head and you're thinking this is about you and how everyone's going to be looking at all these things, and nobody cares that much, to be honest with you. And you have to remember that they are getting blasted. We all are blasted with so much content every day, so much coming through our eyeballs. So first of all, people don't care that much. And second of all, this is not about you. This is about what you're channeling through you for the message you want to give to the people. And so every time I'm about to go on stage and public speak, or I'm about to do something, I really just get in my state of knowing, you know, what type of message do the people that are hearing this need to listen to today? What type of message am I going to deliver to this audience today that's going to help serve them in their lives today? And so I get myself out of it, and I really just feel that way. I'm just channeling something from a higher power to help my community or the people that are listening to today. And what does that look like? What is the message that needs to come across? And that really always helps me. I just remember that this means nothing. This means nothing. And so lots of self-talk, and then just going and delivering. But you do have to get uncomfortable, and just remember that fear. That's the last thing I'll say about this is, fear is that sensation that we all feel. Like, if you're a human being, you are feeling the sensation of fear, and no one gets like an exclusiveness to this. And the only difference between people who succeed at something and people who do not succeed is that we feel the fear, but we still are going to take the action and be brave enough to do it. That's the only difference, is that we're taking the action. So just remember, fear is just a sensation, but who gets to call the shots? You or the sensation? Like, you're the voice, you call it, you do it. So just, you only have to be brave for a few seconds, and then you're good. And then practice, master your craft, always a thing, continuing to grow. But that's what I have to say about that.
Very powerful stuff. Josh, do you have anything?
I don't think so. I think honestly that was a perfect cap to the producer mindset. We want to thank you so much for coming on. Where can we find you on social media? Just give the plug.
Sure. So I'm on Instagram. That's my favorite platform. So the handle is Nuria, Nuria.p.Rivera. So you can find me there. I try to be really good about answering, private messages and things like that. So you can follow me there. But yeah, it's a pleasure to be able to share some of the things I've learned.
Thank you, Nuria.